Here's the truth nobody tells you about boundaries. The guilt you feel when you set them? That's actually a sign you're doing it right. If setting a boundary feels uncomfortable, if you're worried about disappointing someone, if there's a voice in your head saying, maybe I'm being selfish, that means you've spent too long putting everyone else first. Today, we're talking about how to set boundaries without letting guilt stop you. Boundaries aren't walls. They're not about pushing people away or being unkind. Boundaries are simply you saying, this is where I end and you begin. This is what I will accept and what I won't. This is how I protect my peace. But here's what makes it hard. If you grew up learning that your needs don't matter, that speaking up is selfish, that keeping the peace means staying quiet, then setting boundaries feels like breaking rules. The guilt isn't because you're doing something wrong. The guilt is because you're doing something different. Today, I'm sharing 5 practical ways to set boundaries without letting guilt sabotage you. These aren't just theories. These are tools you can use today, in real situations, with real people. Let's begin. Boundary number 1, name the boundary before you need it. Here's what most people do. They wait until they're overwhelmed, exhausted, or angry. Then they try to set a boundary in the heat of the moment, and it comes out all wrong, either too aggressive or buried in apologies. Instead, decide your boundaries when you're calm. What this looks like. Think about the situations where you consistently feel taken advantage of, drained, or resentful. Those are showing you where you need boundaries. Examples: I don't answer work emails after 7 p.m. I don't discuss my personal life with my mother-in-law. I don't lend money to friends. I need 1 night a week alone to recharge. Name them clearly. Write them down if you need to. Know what your boundaries are before someone crosses them. Why this helps with guilt. When you've decided your boundary ahead of time, it's not personal. It's not about rejecting this specific person in this specific moment. It's a standard you've set for yourself. That makes it easier to enforce without feeling like you're being mean. Boundary number 2, state it simply, don't over-explain. Here's what guilt makes us do. We try to justify our boundaries with long explanations, hoping the other person will understand and give us permission. I can't help you move this weekend because I have plans, and I've been so tired lately, and I really need to rest. And I'm sorry, I just don't think I can. Maybe I could help for an hour? You're negotiating with yourself before they even respond. Instead, try this. I can't help you move this weekend. I hope you find someone. That's it. No essay, no apology, no justification. The templates. That doesn't work for me. I'm not available. That's not something I can do. I need some space right now. You don't owe anyone a detailed explanation for your no. Why this helps with guilt. The more you explain, the more you're looking for approval. And if you need someone's approval to set a boundary, it's not really a boundary, it's a negotiation. State it clearly, kindly, and stop talking. Boundary number 3, let people be disappointed. This is the hardest one. Because the guilt you feel? It's often about the other person's reaction. You're not just afraid of saying no, you're afraid of what happens after you say no. They might be upset. They might be disappointed. They might think you're selfish or difficult or not a team player. And here's what you need to hear. That's okay. Other people's disappointment is not your emergency. You are not responsible for managing everyone else's emotions. You are not required to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. If someone is disappointed because you set a boundary, that's information about their expectations, not about your worth. What this looks like. Your friend is upset you can't drop everything to listen to their drama for the 3rd time this week. They say, I thought I could count on you. You can acknowledge their feelings without changing your boundary. I understand you're disappointed. I'm still not available tonight. Why this helps with guilt. Guilt wants you to believe that if someone is upset, you did something wrong. But boundaries will sometimes disappoint people. That doesn't make the boundary wrong. It makes it necessary. Boundary number 4, expect pushback and hold firm. When you start setting boundaries, people who are used to you having none will test you. They'll push back. They'll try to make you feel guilty. They'll say things like, "You've changed. You never used to be like this. You're being selfish. But I need you. Just this once." This is not a sign you're doing something wrong. This is a sign you're doing something different. How to hold firm. Don't argue, don't defend, just repeat your boundary. I understand this is frustrating for you. My answer is still no. I hear that you're upset. I'm still not available. I know this is different. This is my decision. It's called the broken record technique. You acknowledge what they said and you repeat your boundary. That's it. Why this helps with guilt. Pushback makes you question yourself. Maybe I'm being too rigid. Maybe I should just do it this once. But if you bend every time someone pushes, you don't have a boundary, you have a suggestion. Hold firm. The pushback will stop when people learn you mean what you say. Boundary number 5. Practice with small boundaries first. If you've never set boundaries before, don't start with your most difficult relationship. You'll set yourself up to fail, feel terrible, and decide boundaries don't work. Start small, build the muscle, prove to yourself that you can do this. Small boundary practice. Tell the cashier no thanks when they ask if you want to donate at checkout. Say I need a few minutes when someone interrupts you. Let a call go to voicemail and call back when you're ready. Order exactly what you want at a restaurant, even if it's not what everyone else is having. Say I'd rather not when someone asks a personal question. These seem minor, but each one is practice. Each one is you choosing yourself. Each one builds your confidence. Why this helps with guilt. Small wins show you that setting boundaries doesn't destroy relationships. People don't hate you for saying no. The world keeps turning. And gradually, the guilt gets quieter because you have evidence that boundaries are safe. Now let's talk about the guilt itself. Because even when you know boundaries are healthy, even when you set them perfectly, you might still feel guilty. Here's why. Guilt is your conscience's alarm system. It's supposed to alert you when you've done something that violates your values. But for many of us, guilt has been weaponized. We were taught that taking care of ourselves is selfish. That saying no makes us bad. That our needs are less important than everyone else's. So guilt shows up even when we're doing the right thing. How to work with guilt. Ask yourself, am I feeling guilty because I did something wrong or because I did something different? If you're setting a healthy boundary, protecting your peace, honoring your needs, that's not wrong. That's growth. The guilt will fade, not immediately, but with practice. Every time you set a boundary and the world doesn't end, the guilt loses power. You're not responsible for everyone's happiness. You're not required to sacrifice yourself. You're allowed to have limits. The guilt is lying to you. Your boundary is not. So let's recap. 5 ways to set boundaries without letting guilt stop you. 1. Name the boundary before you need it. 2. State it simply. Don't over-explain. 3. Let people be disappointed. 4. Expect pushback and hold firm. 5. Practice with small boundaries first. And remember, boundaries aren't mean. They're not selfish. They're self-respect in action. The people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries. The people who get angry, they were benefiting from you having none. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. You're allowed to protect your peace. You're allowed to say no. The guilt you feel doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you're doing something brave. This is Haven Space, where we learn to choose ourselves without apology. If this resonated, subscribe and let's keep growing together. I'll see you in the next one.